Hey interwebs, Angie here, and we are talking Love is Blind. If that's what you're into, pull up a seat and stay for a while. And if you like what you hear, then click the channel below and check out Faith Over Everything podcast, which I host with my sister, if you would like to hear more. See, it's telling you to go ahead. Good job. But anyway, right now we're going to jump into the episode. I'm going to try to add pictures as it has been requested because not everybody is watching the show and they want to know who the people are, what they look like. But we are on episode 2. Episode 2 is called Perfect Husband, but okay. So in this, so we meet. Starts off with us meeting Monica and Steven. Monica is 36. Stephen is 33. Monica has let the physical pull her into relationships. And with this experiment, she is able to not judge a book by its cover. So that's kind of why, she's coming to this. Steven said he's big on being communicative. He reveals that he cheated in his last relationship because he felt like he didn't deserve her. He said that it wasn't a physical cheating experience, it was an emotional cheating experience that he had. He had an emotional encounter with another woman in her DM. And they were flirting with intention. Monica said that she appreciated his honesty, and they seemed to be, into each other, have a good initial connection. And Steven asked her out on a date, for the next night, or another date. So, that was Monica and Steven. Good to meet them. In the women's quarters, we end up hearing from Hannah, and Hannah is telling her lady friends that she is regretting. Surprise, surprise. Allegedly, I guess she's regretting cutting Nick D loose because he told her that she was his person. But when she broke up with him, he's like, okay, whatever, you're my person, but if I gotta let you go, if you love something, let it go. If it comes back, then for sure. So he's like, that's fine. I'll let you go if the feeling's not mutual, and he exits stage left. So she was like, then hearing Britt come back talking about or Brittany come back talking about her date with Leo, it just kind of had her, taken aback, and she just wasn't sure. And, she's like, well, I think that, Nick left, and the ladies are like, well, if Nick leaves, then he'll immediately go to IG and he'll look them up and he'll start sexting and talking to other girls. And I'm just like, what are we missing? Like, what are y'all not showing us that Nick did other than be a little bit of a smooth talker? Because like the fact that you just assume that like by you letting him go, he's just gonna go like, oh, it's fine, I got other women. Like, if he, in my opinion, if he was as good of a slick talker, or he's like this player that they're trying to make him seem, then like he would have other women. But like he only got Hannah. So I don't know. It's maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. But it was just, I don't know. But so she goes on to say that, although she did kind of like call it quits with him, she did request another date with Nick. So we'll see how that goes. Next up, we have Brittany and Leo. They are meeting in the pods, of course. She tells Leo that the women have all had emotional meltdowns as they all have discovered who is dating who, and how she accidentally said his name. And his other connection overheard, and that it was never her intention to do that, because she ain't got time for the mess. She don't want nobody side-eyeing her, like all that jealousy stuff. She's not with it. And it was crazy because in the first episode when she said like, oh, Leo, and she kind of was like, oh, and it seemed like it was an accident. I wasn't sure if it was an accident, but I think with how she phrased it when she was telling Leo, like, this is what happened, it wasn't intentional. I really do think that it was an accident, because I really do believe when she was saying like she doesn't want the jealousy, she doesn't want the side eye and all of that, and that negativity. She was like, I just don't want that negativity. I believe that she was pure. that she was being, truthful. Leo says that at the point that they are in the pods, it's inevitable that everyone will start to know or deduct, who is dating who, and that he just wants to focus on him and her. And he's like, I got a crush on you. He starts talking about how he likes her a lot and he feels like he may be using the L word soon because he feels like he's falling in love with her. Brittany is having a mini meltdown because she's like, she knows that she's an option. Like, you have two options. He can possibly pick somebody else. So, she's like, he telling her what sounds good, but at the same time, like, you have somebody else. And I'm not about to beg a man to be with me. And I was like, girl, and won't, okay. Because she's like, I'm not gonna beg somebody to be with me. And so he's like, he was like, before this date, like, you were my number two. And this is one thing I hate on this show as well. Stop numbering people. Like, stop judging, rating them unless you don't want them to be with you. So he tells her that before the date, she was his number two. And now you're thinking he's going to say that she's his number one, right? You thinking that? No, he says, now you're both my number one. She said, both? We're both your number one? He said, yeah, I don't know if that made you feel good or bad. Maybe I shouldn't have said it, but it's true. I don't want to talk about it, but I have two connections. And then he goes on talking about how he can see himself being married and engaged to her and them having this perfect little life. And Brittany over there, a little sad because you just told me that was an option. Like, you just told me that we're both number one. Like, and now you're trying to tell me how happy you will be with me as your wife and this life that you're gonna make with me. Just a mess. They end the conversation with him asking if she can see herself married to him, which I thought was a crazy question because she's still in the pods talking to you, isn't she? So she's like, yes. I mean, she said it, but it was almost like she said it under duress because she's depressed because we both were number one. So she's like, yes. And this is when I started to be like, Leo, I don't know about you. I don't know. I mean, I had already didn't know about him, but now I really, Leo, no. Okay, so next, put them a little bigger so y'all can see them good. Next, we have our girl Hannah and Nick. She tells him that she has not been okay, and that she may have made the wrong decision, and that would basically letting him go. He lets her know that his feelings was hurt because he thought that that they really had something, and she was like, I think I just hurt you before you could hurt me, and then all the girls, they were telling me that, like, you should end it with me or you should end it with Nick. And he's like, wait, hold on. You people was telling you that and that's who you was listening to? And I was like, that's right, Nick. Get her, Nick, because why you letting other people tell you what to do? It's me and you. Forget them, boo. Okay, y'all said I got them bars. Anyway, but it's me and you. So why are you even letting somebody else get in your head and tell you anything? She was like, yeah, kind of, I don't know what I'm doing. Then she starts listing out like the different insecurities and doubts that she has. And, she don't know how she would feel. Like, what happens if at the reveal, you don't like what you see? And he's like, what if you don't like what you see? And I was like, right, Nick, like, tell her, like, you worried about me liking you. What if you don't like me? He's like, I got insecurities too. I got doubts. This go both ways, but I like you, whatever. Like, I like you and I want us to, I want you to give me a chance. And so she says, okay, she gonna give him a chance. And I'm like, okay. Because y'all know I'm rooting for Hannah because she didn't came in here and she didn't left her job. Okay. So you need to find love. And Nick, even though they keep trying to hate on my boy Nick, like, he ain't showed me nothing yet. Okay. So whatever the vibes they get from Nick, I get from Leo. Not like the player vibes, but just he not a good guy vibes. Whatever. I don't know why they don't think Nick is a good guy. And I don't know because we haven't seen everything play out in its entirety. But based off of what I've seen so far, it's Leo. Leo the problem, not Nick, in my opinion. In my opinion. Okay. Next, we get Leo and Hannah. So they discuss how both Hannah and Brittany do know that they are talking to him, and they're like, that's okay. Or she's like, that's okay. That's what the experiment is about. It's for us to date other people. They speak on how much they like each other and how they're each other's twin flame, and okay, I'll dream about you and we'll talk tomorrow. Okay. Okay. And then next we have Garrett and Taylor. Okay. Um, yeah, I know I ain't, me and Garrett, we really ain't on the same page right now. From that ethnicity thing. I still haven't gotten over that, but I'ma try. Okay. I'ma try. Taylor gifts him a avocado plant because they have previously discussed, having plants, and they, are into that. And so Garrett gifted Taylor some honey from his dad's honey farm. They talk about timeline for children. Taylor's like, I want to have children about, 5 to 7 years. Garrett was like, that's a long time. But it's not a deal breaker. It's something that we can compromise on. Taylor was like, you know what? We don't got to compromise because I think that me and you would have a good life. I'm excited to see where this can go. So, we don't got to compromise. So basically, she like, if you say 5 to 7 is too long, that's fine. I think I love you. She didn't say that, but basically, it's what you're saying. Like, I think I want to be with you. So we don't got to do that. We can put that. We can table it. No compromise needed. I'll have your babies. Okay. So when you gonna ask me to be your girlfriend? And he asked her to be his girlfriend. And he's like, okay, will you be my girlfriend? And she's like, no, you got to work for it. And I was like, okay. Then they discuss how they'll react when they see each other out the pods. Garrett says, and just being honest, people do care about how people look, and that he does want his partner to find him attractive. But with this experiment and not knowing what the other person looks like, it's definitely a risk, but it's a risk that they're both taking because he could like her, and maybe she could like him, but maybe she won't like him, whatever. Anyway, before they leave, he asks her what her favorite flower is, and she tells him that her favorite flower is sunflowers. Next, we get another new couple. This is Marissa and Bowden. um, I believe it's Bodan. So Marissa and Bodan, and he is from the Ukraine. His biological father passed away when he was little. And so the dad that raised him is a Filipino man, and that is his hero. Okay. He was like, he idolizes him, basically everything that he wants to be in a man, he got it from that man. So Bodan and Marissa have, um, they clearly have had time that we haven't seen. Because they weren't in the first episode at all, but they seem to have a good connection. They're reminiscing on past dates from the night before and earlier that date, and they're talking about, or that day, and they're talking about how both dates were just so incredible. They bond over them both liking to read fantasy books. He's a Marine. He's toured in Kuwait. He's toured to Ukraine. She served in the Navy. So they both have that kind of military experience. We then see Bodan in the men's quarters, and he's talking to a guy named Ramses. Ramses? I think it's Ramses. Ramses. And they seem pretty cool with one another, and they're talking about the experience and how they know, how things are going good, but like, oh, there's probably going to be a love triangle, whatever. And wouldn't you know it, the very next scene, who we see Ramses with? Of course, Marissa. Why wouldn't we see Ramses with Marissa? So now, first, let me get into this picture. Okay, Ramses, him and that tail or tails, because it's two of them. You better have your own style. Okay. All right, he better have his own style. Anyway, Marissa starts off the date thanking him for the date that they had earlier because he made her feel comfortable. And now she feels like she can talk to him about anything. So, whatever happened earlier, we don't know because we didn't see it, but he made her feel comfortable, and that's a plus. Um, he said, you've been my top person for a while. I want to know where your head is at. And she's like, well, I do have two connections. So there's another person. She was like, then, we know that the other person is Bodine. We then learned that Ramses was previously married. He said he married his high school sweetheart and that he comes from a religious home, and him and his wife connected on that. So they connected on religious beliefs. They were married for 4.5 years, and through that time, he found himself moving away from Christianity and religion altogether. And then that led to things ultimately not working out for them. He shares that his dad was very critical of him, and that that critical feelings have crept into his adulthood, so he has some insecurities about certain things. She shares that her parents divorced. Her mom took care of her and her siblings on her own for a while, and that her dad basically just was gone. I guess he just never came. I'm not gonna say he never came back, but she just basically, it sounds like her dad wasn't very present. After the divorce, her mom struggled um, for a while. So she knows what that looks like to struggle. And as an adult, now she tries to like give back, and she's a giver, and she tries to help people as much as she can. Um, they talk about his views on gender roles. She's saying how she appreciates his views on gender roles. He's not into traditional roles. And that is something that's attractive to her because she's used to military men, and they're just real masculine and probably really into traditional roles. In the women's quarter, we end up having, or seeing Taylor um talking to Monica. And they see, like, there's a pot of flowers or whatever, like, where did these flowers come from? And so they go look at the pot, and it is a sunflower pot. So Garrett had sent her a sunflower pot and asked her to be his girlfriend. And it was like a little cute note that was like, check yes or no or whatever else. So he got her that, got her what he knew she would like. He asked her for the sunflowers. He got the sunflowers, asked her to be his girlfriend. Cute. Even though I really don't like Garrett like that. But I ain't gonna say I don't like him, but whatever. Y'all know what I'm saying. But it was nice gesture he did. The next scene, we have Tim and Alex. Okay, Tim and Alex. Tim, they're talking about how he went to college on a music scholarship, but he really didn't like school like that. He liked learning, but he didn't like school. So he ended up joining the Navy, and it was a great experience for him. It's opened up a lot of doors. He's done with the Navy, but he's happy to have gone through it, and he's happy to be done with it. But it's opened up a lot of doors for him. He also shares that his older sister, so Tim is the one who had the sisters that passed away, and he's the one that said he was a dog and he played games and all that stuff, and we gonna believe that he's a new person now. Anyway, he shares that his older sister passed away from lupus, and after she passed, his other sister, him and his other sister were in the room with her at the hospital, and his sister was trying to take his sister's class ring off of her finger. She did get the ring off, and he was like, in that moment, he was like, man, you ain't supposed to be doing that, or whatever. But she got it off, and he was like, and now that's a memory that he appreciates and he appreciates her doing that because now with both of them gone, he has both of their class rings on a necklace that he wears around his neck. And it was just, it's sad. It was like, very sad, but very touching at the same time. You can tell that he definitely really values his family, the connections he had with his sisters. So he said that he shares that getting married, or he said that up into those points in his life where like his sisters passed away, it was like his life, was literally like a sitcom, whatever. And he's like, and then he just gets to thinking about like all the childhood memories, all the times he spent with his sisters. They locked him outside the house naked or whatever else. And so he shared a lot. And when I tell you, he had me over. Now I'm a crier. Okay. So he had me crying, and Alex was over there crying too. Okay. We all just crying. Um, So then Tim shares that, getting married, he'll be able to give his parents one more daughter. His sisters is gone. They don't got no daughters no more. But if I get married, I'll be able to give them another daughter. And that, he is so very grateful to have met Alex. And I'm like, okay, Tim, are you starting to you sound like you sound like you might be that new man that I'm hoping that you want to be, and you ain't that dog you used to be. So I'm hoping he is promising. It's promising. So next we are back to Garrett and Taylor. They're back together. She shares with him some love letters that her grandfather wrote to her grandmother back in 1953. And then ends she reads that letter, and then she navigates into a letter that she wrote for him, her own little love letter. Garrett says that, he loves everything about her and all the good things that have made him fall in love with her. I just love everything about you and whatever else, and affirms her and everything. And he gets down and he proposes. So Garrett and Taylor are officially our first couple that have gotten engaged. And I'm like, okay, now I hope he didn't got over this little ethnicity thing, okay? Because don't be asking her to marry you and you ain't even really trying to do what you're supposed to be needing to do. Okay, get it together. Um, so after that, we end up going back to Monica and Steven. They are talking politics. Steven said he votes for the candidate he believes in most. And then he admits that he voted for Trump the first time around because he didn't like Hillary. But then he despised the way that Trump held office and voted for Biden in the next election. Um, we then find out, okay, y'all. So this next little bit tidbit, okay? Y'all ready? We then find out that he grew up thinking that he was part Italian because that's what his grandma, had told them. Grandma and them was like, baby, we Italian. Only, of course, to do his sister did an ancestry DNA test thing, and it came back and said that they were only like 3% European or something, and that they were primarily West African, like Nigeria, Ghana. I said, "Oh, Nigeria. Let me find my daddy is from Nigeria, y'all." I said, "Let me, Stephen, you my cousin? Is you my cousin?" Anyway, he said that now that they got that result, he know that his dad is like either 3/5 or half black. And his whole life, he identified as a white man, and now that he didn't discover that he got some black in him, okay, he didn't. I'm gonna educate myself. So he didn't went to the stores and to the bookstores, and he didn't got all kinds of literature, literature on Nigerian and Ghanaian cultures. Okay, because he said I'm gonna learn about this. I'm gonna learn about myself. And I was like, okay, Steven, okay. Monica reveals that she is mixed. Her mother is Honduran. Her mother's parents, so her grandparents, are an interracial couple. Her father is African American, but he got some Cherokee in him. And I said, "Oh, so you got Indian in your family?" Anyway, so again, her grandparents are of different races. She didn't say what they were, so they were an interracial couple. Her mom is Honduran. I'm trying to figure out, like, it sounds like she just from Honduras, because you're saying that your grandparents were interracial, but you never really solidified what race they were. But whatever. So the grandma and the granddaddy different races. The mom is Honduran. The dad is black and Indian. And so she's just a mixed bag. So he's like, "Oh yeah, so you're just a little mutt." And she was like, "Yeah, I'm a mutt." And I was just like, I didn't like that. Um, I don't know. Y'all let me know. Cause like I don't know, because how I grew up or where I grew up, like a mutt is not like a good term. It's like a derogatory term. You talk about mixed people, you call them a mutt. So I didn't like that. I don't know. So y'all let me know. But yeah, they seem to like each other, and It is what it is. Moving on, we go to my MVP of the seasons so far, and we meet Ashley and Tyler. Okay, so they have exchanged blankets with each other. And their blankets, like, they have your own little scent on it. So he's like, I think he said Bodon or somebody was smelling his blanket, and he was like, and I'm like, hey, don't be smelling my girl blanket or whatever. So it was cute. Um, they have food. You can have food in the pod, so they had like food, and Tyler was like, wait a minute, let me pray. So he prepared a written prayer, and he prayed over their food, he prayed over their relationship. Like, Tyler, I was like, you better pray, Tyler. You better do that. Okay. It was just very nice to see. They share how they feel safe with each other, how once they are together, they do want to pray with each other. They end up having one of those silent music dates where you have the little silent headphones. Tyler expresses his love for her, and she is just smitten. Because whenever he's talking, she's like, and she'll be like, mm, mm, mm. He say stuff, so it'd be like, girl, you just. And so she's like, Tyler, Tyler, Tyler. So they have a great date. They end their date, go back to their quarters. Both of them are just happy, smiles all around. And then we get to the Tyler. The episode ends with us getting to the Taylor and a Garrett review. So I'm like, okay, I really want to see how this goes. Are they going to like each other? Like, what's going to happen? Is he really going to have an issue with the ethnicity thing? And I'm like, okay. But then the episode goes off. So that is how the episode ends, with Garrett and Taylor getting ready to see each other. So episode 3, we'll be back. I am going to probably drop episode 3 a little later today. Or yes, I'm going to drop episode 3 today. I think 4 will come out on Sunday, 5 on Monday, and 6 on Tuesday. Y'all, they got me with these 6 episodes, okay? Because your girl be busy. So I'll try to get more pictures. But yes, you guys, let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with, my thoughts on people? Do you have different thoughts? What are y'all thinking about Nick? Like, am I missing something? Let me know, because why? Why? Just why? But all right, you guys, I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to record episode 3, and then we'll get the other ones. So in the meantime, though, if you again enjoy this video, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, again, check out Faith Over Everything podcast. But yes, until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Comment, subscribe. Talk to you later.